you've been very active on Twitter pointing this out, but the Surgeon General makes this announcement, and I feel like within 48 hours, some very big lockdown skeptics were just disappeared on
Yeah.
social media.
Yeah, so a couple of them, Michael Sanger, and the tweet for which he was supposedly suspended permanently, so he's lost his account forever and you can never create a new one, was pretty benign. Especially, I mean, he and others have definitely said things that I would say are more controversial. Not that you should absolutely be able to say anything controversial or anything,
Right.
but it was something like all COVID mitigation measures were a fraud. I mean, that's not that controversial. And then Daniel Kotzen, another big Twitter person, was suspended at the same time, only temporarily so far, for saying that the pandemic would end because of everybody getting infected or most people getting infected, not vaccination. Again, like many epidemiologists hold this view. This is not.
Right. Right.
This is not. So I think this was directly connected to that. And the Biden administration's attempt to implement, to sort of instrumentalize social media platforms to censor people with divergent views on COVID actually goes back much earlier. The first that I'm aware of was Jennifer Psaki making the White House press secretary making statements about how the tech companies needed to do more. They're responsible for American deaths. There were reports that the White House was sort of threatening companies with regulation. We don't know if they were directly threatened or it was, they were just hoping that they would hear this. So it's my opinion that the companies are worried and they started ramping up censorship. And when I've spoken to a lot of people, their accounts started getting censored, and often for things that were not that crazy around that time. So I think that this is directly traceable to the government's action.
Yeah. It seems like I'm calling it political capture instead of regulatory capture, but it seems kind of a chicken and egg thing where, our private companies actively censoring people just to follow the revenue that they get from advertisers, including, by the way, one of the biggest clients is surely the federal government spending money on these things? Or is it fear of the White House saying, we're coming after you if you don't do this? But either way, it's not a private company acting on their own, I don't think.
No, I don't think so either. And the trick is for any lawyer who wants to litigate this is, proving causation. And, it could be difficult because, you may have to prove that these accounts were censored because of the government. And well, there's a strong timeline, and I think there's quite a bit of evidence for that. If there's no direct link established, it might be an uphill battle.
Either way, I think and I'm definitely comfortable saying this is a First Amendment violation.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I don't care if it's nominally a private company, but when the president or his spokesperson is saying, "You must stop this."
Yeah, yeah.
And often with real political motives too, because
Yeah.
it happens to be their political opposition that they're stopping as well.